Okay, so I just want to clarify something. This track is called Music Park. That's its name. However, being British, Nintendo obviously thought that we would have a really hard time understanding this whole idea of a musical park. And so in the British version of the game, this track is called Melody Motorway. Like, what? This is the case for quite a few tracks, and I really don't know why they would give the tracks different names for different regions when they're both in the same language. I think that's just strange. But I will not be confined, Nintendo. I am my own man. I am the rambling man. I think Music Park is a better name, so that's what I'm going to call it. So I just wanted to let you know, because in this track, like in the intro cutscene, in the menu selection, you'll see the wrong name, and I didn't want people getting confused. So that's the clarification. It's called Music Park. Let's get on with the video.
Mario Kart 8!
The Mario Kart 8 soundtrack is well known for being fantastic, but how often do you take the time to actually listen to the music that is being played as you play? Join me in this series as we look at the dynamic music found in Mario Kart 8. As you probably have guessed by now, from the title and the thumbnail, and probably my little rant at the beginning, today we're going to be looking at Music Park. Taking place in a magical musical park. This is not a motorway, Nintendo. Motorways are for fast-moving traffic. They're usually wide. They have separate carriageways for vehicles traveling in opposite direction. There's only one direction you can go in this. You're not having... Taking place in a magical musical park, this racetrack is actually made up of the musical instruments that's used in the music itself, which I think is a really nice touch. The musical track has an upbeat feel to it, with this heavy bass and drums accenting the downbeats, and then the offbeats being punctuated by the brass section. So you get the like bump, bump, ba, 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 ba. You know what I mean? That's the musical term, ba, ba. This really gives a clear and steady drive to the piece as a whole, which is also reflected in the movements of the various instruments that make up the racetrack. You can see the trumpets going in and out there, you've got the cymbal, and then obviously the musical notes jumping up and down. The main melody is either played on a synthesizer or an electric guitar, and unfortunately we actually don't have either of these instruments on the track, which I think is a real shame. Now, for the dynamic aspect of the music. This comes with how the karts interact with the road itself. Look, as I said earlier, various parts of the road are made out of various instruments. There are three sections that stand out in particular, the first of which is a piano, then it's a xylophone, then it's a vibraphone. In these three sections, the road becomes the instrument itself, and as you drive along the keyboard, whichever instrument that the keyboard is made of will be inserted into the mix, playing ascending and then descending chromatic scales. It sounds like this. Which is really cool because it feels like as you're driving through, you're sort of playing the musical instruments and it's added to the texture, which is a really nice touch. Now, what is actually really fun is the fact that if you jump or, hop on the keyboard, on these instruments, it will sound like you're hitting the keys randomly, which I think is really cool. Unfortunately, the sound file is random. It's different every time you hop on it. They haven't actually assigned specific notes to the keys, which I think is a real shame. It would have been next level. It means we could get some Mario Kart 8 piano covers up in here. I really want to hear Mario Kart 8's version of All Star by Smash Mouth. That would be fantastic. This sort of goes without saying, but the drums that are sort of like jumping pads, when you hit them, they make a drum noise. Yay, we love that. That's good sound design. And then we come to the final section of the track. As soon as you enter this section, you can hear that for the last 3 notes of every second bar of the music, there is a clicking noise, kind of like drumsticks being knocked together. Not only is this a new texture to listen to, but it also is linked with the timing of those big musical notes so that you know when they're going to jump up and when they're going to land. And this is actually really helpful from a gameplay perspective, because when they land, they cause the ground to bounce your kart up in the air. So if you know the timing of the music, you can perform an air trick and get a little speed boost every single time they jump up and down, because you're timing it with the music, which is quite funky. Obviously, in the final lap, when we get a speed change, everything we've talked about in this video sort of matches that new tempo. And actually, you can see that all the jumping notes and all the instruments in the background slightly speed up so that they match the music, which is just nice. I do think that the bouncing notes are really cute. Like, look at them. They're just having such a good time, just bouncing around, enjoying the music. They are musical notes, right? So they probably have a very limited understanding of reality. They're probably not that self-aware. They know that they're in a music park and they're not on a flipping motorway. But, you know, all they do is jump up and down, and their existence is joy, and I love it. Yeah, I love this map. It's just fun and musical, inherently musical. And as I said earlier, you really feel like you're actually contributing to the music as you drive over the various instruments. It's funky, and it really is just an encapsulation of the idea of dynamic music. And it's a fun idea to use instruments as the road and then implement those instruments in a way that is dependent on where you're driving. I just think that's a really great idea, and they seem to have a lot of fun making this particular track. So, fellow humans, that's the end of the video. I really wanted Music Park to have its own dedicated video because I think it's a great track with some good music and really well integrated dynamic music. I found that in this game, that in the remakes, so the bottom line of cups just don't have as much dynamic music going on, which is really sad. So there's only a few more tracks left in this game, and then I'm going to look at the booster packs after that. But we've only got a few more, so there'll be maybe one or two more videos based on that. Then I'll go into the booster packs, and then we will have covered all of the dynamic music in this game, and I think that's kind of crazy. But thank you very much for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and put a comment down below. Which one do you prefer, Music Park or Melody Motorway? Ugh. And I will see you guys on the next video. Bye!